Well, you know who this guy is. And I just want to remind you that quite often, well, this is one of my favorite sweaters. It's Roots, and the number is 73. Now, this is the most important thing here. 73. Okay. And this shirt, Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory wears. So, what is 73? I didn't know. I had no idea. I bought that the black sweater a long time ago. And this one I bought because Sheldon wears it on Big Bang Theory. And I saw it and I thought, oh, well, that's kind of interesting. Maybe I can do a video about it sometime. But I didn't know what it meant. But I know now. Because Paul Butler on YouTube talks about 73. He talks about a lot of different number codes. But I've listened to quite a few of his videos, and he mentions 73 as a code. And the code is... It could also be 37. 37 and 73 are the same code. If you were to look at this, now I tried to use the camera to make this work, and I'm not sure if it's going to work because I can't tell what the camera's doing. So I'm going to try another thing. Show you me in the mirror, and what I'm trying to get you to see is this looks like an E, and this looks like a T, like E.T. as in E.T., the extraterrestrial. So why do we want to talk about these things? These things are bringing heaven to earth, E.T., So I'm going to put it all together and tell you what's going on. We are looking at becoming citizens of the galaxy rather than citizens of a country on planet Earth. So what does that mean? Well, at some point, I don't know when, because our governments are censoring us about what's really going on in the galaxy. Even the president, I really don't think he knows. I don't think President Trump knows that there are extraterrestrials hanging out not only around Earth, but actually on Earth. We've heard all these weird stories from going back, way back to Roswell. But I keep coming back to, why don't they want to tell us? Because even the president doesn't know. Why is that? Because way back under President Eisenhower, when Roswell happened, he appointed a group that was called, at one point, Majestic, and another group, well, it was the same group, but they gave it another name, and it was called Magic. And the top secret clearance to know everything about what's really going on is not given to the President of the United States. Cosmic clearance, as far as we know, is the highest clearance there is, and the President doesn't have it. Who has it? Deep State has it. And Eisenhower set it up because in his wisdom, he felt that the American people were not ready for disclosure about extraterrestrials. And he felt that, I don't know exactly what his thinking was, but he was a military man. Don't forget that President Eisenhower, before he was the president, he was a 5-star general. and he ran the European campaign against Nazi Germany for not only America, but America and her allies. So he had a military frame of mind, and most likely he felt like this was something too important to leave to civilian people. It had to be given to the military. What else do we know about President Eisenhower? Well, quite hushed up is the fact that when he was the five-star general and they conquered Nazi Germany towards the end of World War II, there's a lot of stories that are available that say that Eisenhower starved the Germans because he hated them. The story is that food was available, but he starved them because he hated them. What else does that mean when we think about Eisenhower? It means he was a flawed man. What do we need to know about today? Pretty much the same problem is within every human. Flaws. Flaws that are known as ego, which come about basically because we're born on a very low vibrational planet. A planet that is not as advanced as other planets in our galaxy, where we use the scale of human consciousness to check out what our collective consciousness is as humans, and we find it wanting. We still have about, I can't tell you, quite a few people who are still very low in their consciousness calibration. The collective consciousness of all of humanity put together is 206, which is just eking over the line into positive nature. It is nowhere near unconditional love. Nowhere near. Nowhere near peace. Nowhere near enlightenment. It's nowhere near even reason and rationality. It wasn't until 1987 the harmonic convergence, it was an astrological thing, or it was the harmonic concordance. It was a convergence or a concordance. 1987, when there was mass meditations, and that was the first time that human collective consciousness got over 200 into positive territory. Before that, the collective was toxic. We lived on a hell world before 1987. So even though we're at 206 today, that's still a terrible number. The spiritual teacher, David R. Hawkins, said, everyone's goal on this planet, an easy goal to do, is to get to 540 on the scale of human consciousness, which is unconditional love. He said that should be everyone's goal right now, get to 540 unconditional love. And we're at 207. So it's really hard to get anything done on this planet because it is full of criminals. People who are criminal. They're in it for themselves, and they will sell their soul to get what their ego wants. So this is another reason why perhaps we don't want to get too far advanced with our technologies, because our scientists are tapping into unbelievable technological whiz-bang things, but they don't have the wisdom, and the politicians don't have the wisdom, and the people don't have the wisdom to decide whether we should make these things, and if we make them, how to use them. So we have got criminals with super high tech things that they are not using for good. And that is the state of our planet. So how are we going to bring heaven to earth? There's only one way, and that is for the collective on earth to raise their consciousness. And we need to get it to, as I said, 540 unconditional love, which means everyone is going to have to learn how to ditch their ego. And there's a lot of people here that really have no desire whatsoever to ditch their ego. They're quite happy playing the role of a criminal because they get what they want, what their ego wants, ego needs, and they don't give a rat's ass about anybody else. So that's the state of the world. What else is going on the state of the world? Most likely you are watching this video now, wondering, okay, well, I'm watching this. Does this mean me? Yes, it does. How are you going to raise your consciousness? How are you going to become something greater than an egoic person? It's quite possible that your consciousness is way above 207 on the scale of human consciousness. You might be in the 300 level or in the 400 level, and some of you might even be, maybe not. Maybe not. I was going to say maybe even inching over into the 500 level, but I'm going to go with no. Because if we had a lot of people in the levels of 500, which is love, and at 540 it becomes unconditional love, we would have a huge boost in the collective consciousness of humanity. Because the higher that an individual goes on the scale of human consciousness, the more negativity can be displaced. Because the scale of human consciousness is a logarithmic scale. And the higher you go, you get the benefit of not only the higher number, but it's a logarithmic one. And you're going to have to remember that logarithmic scale means the higher you go, I don't know, it's like exponential, logarithmic. Do you understand that? I'm terribly sorry. It's been many years since I've been in math class, and that's as good as I can get. But it means that the power of someone's consciousness at a higher level of consciousness, a lot of people that get into the 500s can counterbalance the negativity of the criminal people on the planet. Which means if you want to participate, you don't have to go around banging pots and pans saying, wake up everybody, I got to red pill you. No, that's stupid. It's a waste of time. Because the people that are hearing you bang pots and pans, they don't care. So what you have to do is you have to work on yourself. Internally, raise your own consciousness. You got to get yourself, get up to 540, unconditional love. Just be like Kermit. I mean, it's not a frightening thing. It's not a horrible thing. Could you imagine if you were just like Kermit the Frog? Is that so hard to imagine, you being of the same kindness as Kermit the Frog? Is that really hard? That's all we're asking. Be like Kermit. It's not some, rocket science to try and figure out how to ditch your egoic tendencies. It's just to be kind like Kermit the Frog. It's basically what you learned in kindergarten. You can do it. Yes, you can. I'm Kermit the Frog.